Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Boardmasters with me, Chris Mullins.
And me, Chris Reed.
And today we are doing our review of Kabuto Sumo following the very short and embarrassing defeat that I suffered in the gameplay video that I'll link down below. But as ever, the review will have the same 5 categories as always. So art style and theme, component quality, accessibility, replayability and gameplay. So I'll let you take the lead, Chris. What do you think about the art style and the theme?
Well, the theme's obviously loosely based on a bug insect concept. I said from the beginning, it does remind me of the Pixar film Bugs.
Yeah.
Very much so. Even some of the way that the cards are designed with the characters, they're very sort of Pixar-y. But yeah, I like the theme. It's a very different theme to what we've played together so far. It's completely different. We've not played a game anything like this before.
No, not at all.
It's very I enjoy the theme.
I love the theme.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insects sumo wrestling, which is a wacky, brilliant concept. Anyway, I mean, I do love insects and things like that. Not touching them, but yeah. Looking at them and studying them, I think they're fantastic. The art style is great, as Chris said. The way the characters are done up, and you've got Cactus Jacked, obviously based off Mick Foley, and the Nature Bug off Ric Flair, and there's just nods to wrestling fans throughout it, and I just really like. Wow, it just looks. It's a beautiful, fun-looking game. The theme is really entertaining and complements the mechanics really well. So I think that really, really works, and it's really unique, as far as I know.
It's very unique. Like I said before, I've never played a game anything like this before. There's a lot of concentration involved.
Yeah, that's probably why I tend to lose.
Yeah, I like the art style and the theme really works for me. Even the ring as well. The art style, that's really, really well done.
Yeah, it looks great. And
the box itself.
Well, show it off.
Colours on the box.
It's not the sort of game I would ever normally back, as I mentioned in the crowdfunding backlog video when it came up. Dexterity games don't generally appeal, and it was purely the theme and the table presence, how it looks with like a manual 2p machine, basically. Just really, really appealed. So it's a big win for me on that. And similar with the component quality. I mean, you've got these wonderful little tokens that are the things you're pushing into the ring to try and knock the other bits out. You've got the standard cool little wrestlers, they're good quality. You've got all these special pieces depending which bug you are. I've got the All-Star expansion, but I've got this whole bag of hugely different pieces, and they all impact the gameplay very differently. Some of them, like the praying mantis that Chris was playing in the gameplay video, you don't get a signature piece, it's part of the ring.
Yeah.
And the same was the Titan Beetle, and you put your big piece in with that, whereas other ones, like the electric bug, are bits that you push in.
Yeah.
And
my figure 4.
Your figure 4, that was really different in that the nature bug has the scorpion tail, and you need to put it down where it's touching both wrestlers, and then you basically put your opponent in the figure 4 leg lock, and that they can only then put in their small pieces, which is a really clever, really fun, really good adaptation of the actual move. And applying it to this sumo ring of circular bits that you're pushing in. But like I said, they're all very good quality, feel great. The ring itself, I mean, if you go to the unboxing, you can see it. It takes 5 minutes to build, and it's really, really sturdy once it's together. I haven't even glued this. I know it said in the instructions it recommends doing that, but I haven't found any need yet at all. So for me, the components are a big win.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the wooden counters.
Yeah.
Like you've already said, really nice quality there. Love the different colours, the earthy browns as against the greens, the natural looking greens.
Yeah, it's like the ring is, I don't know, in a hollowed out tree log or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the impression it gives, the artwork it gives is like an autumnal forest floor, which is really attractive, which isn't something I necessarily thought it would be.
No. I suppose the only other game with similar sort of with the colorations would be something like an Everdale even.
Yeah.
Similar sort of colour palette, I would say.
Oh, certainly. But again, for the price point, I think it was somewhere around the £30 region.
Yeah.
It's very good quality. And I don't really see what you could have improved on, to be honest. I mean, I suppose you could have purely sort of artistic minis of the bugs, but it wouldn't add anything to the gameplay, and it would be a gigantic price increase for just an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So again, for me, components is a big win.
Yeah, for me too. I love, like I say, I love the wooden tokens. I love the different colours. I suppose that leads us on to the accessibility. Like you said, it's around about the £30 mark. I've found it quite easily.
Okay, well that's positive, because I thought it'd be a game that'd be a bit more niche, although Board Game Tables does have a decent presence in board game shops. So.
And I like, with the accessibility, I like the speed of the game.
Well, we saw that from the gameplay video. That lasted about 3 turns. That didn't go well for me at all.
It's very easy to set up, because once you've got the pattern, once you know the pattern for the 2-player, for instance, you just replicate it every single game.
Yeah, the initial setup is
so
just repeats.
The initial setup and teardown is very quick.
It's incredibly easy to learn.
Easy to learn. Yeah, very easy to learn.
It's so easy to learn.
Very replayable. In fact, I'd say this game's a great party game, I would say.
Well, yeah, I think I would agree. I mean, we've played 6 games in the last hour and a half, something like that, which is none of my other games have that sort of playtime. No. It's crazy. So it's super quick. It's super easy to learn. It's very easy to set up and tear down, because the ring is easily set. You keep it set up, put everything in there, and it stays in one piece in the box. So you're just taking it out and putting the pieces on. And yeah, it's relatively cheap and easy to find, apparently. So again, accessibility is a really, really big win. And as you mentioned, replayability already, Chris. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on what you were?
Yeah, I think with having the random choice of potential characters you can be, that sort of opens the door to various different mechanics of the game, and how you sort of implement, how you're pushing these counters in, because obviously you could spend counters to gain special pieces.
Yeah, so you generally get your signature pieces quite a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, you can pay your opponent to get these. So yeah, I think that as far as that's concerned, it's a real win.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Kickstarter edition and the Insect All-Star expansion, so I can't remember exactly the divide. I think I'll just have a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think it was 8 in each. So 8 in the base game and 8 in the expansion. So that's 16 different wrestlers.
Yeah.
That all play very differently. You've then got the Junior League ones, which are the same wrestlers, but you basically, I think you start with your signature piece. So the rules are a bit more simplified. So it just gives you your starting inventory. So you don't have to pay or earn your signature moves as such. You just start with those in your inventory, which obviously is much more accessible for children, which is something we probably should have covered in the last category. But with 16 different characters that all play very differently, the replayability feels almost endless. I mean, we played 6 games, as we said, and we barely scratched the surface. We've only used 4 different characters each so far.
Plenty more to use. And I love as well with you pushing these in. There's no sort of like give. Even though the setup is the same for each 2-player game, you just don't know how because you've got to push it straight. These counters could go anywhere really. There's
Yeah. It's like a 2p machine at the arcade,
Yeah.
isn't it? When you put the thing in and you're absolutely certain it's going to push something off, and then nothing drops, and then you put one in randomly and it tips a load off. But it's just different all the time. It's unpredictable.
And because each of the characters does have its own particular strengths, it sort of adds to it again, I think, because you've got to, not only got to think about what you can do with your attacks, you've got to think, well, if I push my character next to his and I'm touching him, I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose a little counter every time.
Yeah, that was the blister bug, wasn't it? Where I was the blister bug, and so whenever my character was touching Chris's, he had to give me a piece at the end of my turn every time, which is a really powerful move, because generally, more often than not, when we've finished a game, it's quite often been by submission where you lose the pieces. Although I tend to make a stupid mistake and get knocked out eventually. But yeah, if you've got that sort of ability where you're stealing pieces off your opponent every turn, you're just going to win by submission.
Yeah.
But then there are other bits that counter that really strongly. So it is balanced, but you may get combinations that maybe aren't, which perhaps leads us on to the gameplay. And I love it. It's simple. It's a very easy concept to understand. The gameplay, you literally pick a piece and you push it, and that.
Yeah.
But there is so much going on in terms of, well, what piece do I use? Where do I push from? Do I be aggressive and try and push their wrestler, or do I just try and knock some pieces off? You've lost games by being too aggressive too early on and running out of pieces.
It's a balance between trying to push the opponent off, I think, and trying to keep it so you still knock pieces off to have pieces in your hand. And obviously these bigger pieces, these bigger tokens, for instance, you're just going to get so many better. It's a better chance to knock.
Yeah, it's a better chance. It's no guarantee, because we both used big ones for nothing.
Yeah.
And then put little green ones in and got 3 or 4.
I love how you can move this around the ring every single time. You get that choice.
You position. So you've got the ring, and you just slide it around,
and you sort of you can put whichever trajectory you want to put the counter in.
As long as it's straight.
You just, and obviously sometimes you're just going in and it's looking dodgy, and the temptation is
you can see sometimes it's going wrong, and it's like, oh, I don't want to push anymore. Can I just leave it here? Or you're so distracted with watching what you're knocking off on the far side that you end up pushing it too far, and and getting in trouble.
Because there's not a lot of leeway between where the ring is and where this sort of this is.
Well, it goes right up against it.
Yeah,
no
it's quite easy to knock. It's quite easy to knock one off on the edges. You're moving it around. That happens.
That's but
it's not
just
really
account for that.
Yeah. But likewise, if your piece is very near the edge, you've really got to be careful moving this around.
Yeah, you don't want to knock your piece off by accident. Thankfully, even I haven't done that yet.
But yeah, I really love it. Like Chris said, it's simple. It's very easy to understand. You can, if you want a quick game to play, I definitely recommend this. I also think it'd be very good for families, as we've talked about before. Young kids would pick this up no problem at all, because it's
particularly with the junior rules, because then you're not worrying about having to buy pieces and things.
Yeah,
that's just give them their pieces and push them on.
It's very satisfying pushing it on and knocking pieces off. So particularly if you've got a lesser piece, you're gaining a bigger piece.
Oh yeah, when you're trading up, that's always a nice feeling. But yeah, it's just really, really fun.
Yeah, it's quite refreshing actually.
Yeah, it's nice. It's more thinky than I thought, but at the same time, it's almost like a refreshing palate cleanser. It's a perfect game if you're to start or end a night. And I know when we set out this morning, we had no ambition to record this today, because we thought we'll get a few games in to learn it, and then next week we'll be familiar enough to record it. But we've had so much fun with it over the past couple of hours that we've played 6 games straight in and thought, let's get it on camera. Yeah. But what are you going with in terms of the score?
See, because we've not obviously we're planning to review this today, we've played enough games, so I feel for me to give it a score. I'm gonna give it, based on everything, a 10.
Oh, a 10.
Because I really like this game, and I think it's probably because it's different to the other games you've played.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interactive.
Very, yeah, certainly.
Very easy to learn. Great price point. Quick to set up. Quick to take down. Bags of replayability. The gameplay is fantastic. No two games are the same because everything that just combines with the cars to the components make it different. It's very unpredictable. You don't, although you have control as to where you move, the pieces around, you just don't know how they're going to fall.
Once it's on the board, they can go sideways, spin, forward, who knows.
Yeah, I really like this game, and the fact that each of these insects, the art style is gorgeous. Each of these insects has different, traits. Really adds to it as well, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the only negative I had was the game where I was the Titan Beetle. And so my special piece was the big bit that you replace your wrestler with and put it in the middle. And that was basically it in terms of the moves. I could buy to get a big piece, but I didn't have another signature move that I could do. And I think the signature moves, particularly as sort of a wrestling fan, is a lot of the fun is, I'm going to use the mandible claw, or I'm going to use the figure four, or I'm going to use the DDT. Whereas just purely with that one character, I didn't have access to any of that, which was not as fun a game. I still enjoyed it, but not quite as fun. But every other game, I would agree, 10.
Yeah.
Even though I seem to lose all the time.
Yeah, I really loved it, and as Chris said, you've got the wrestling element, which we're both fans. Chris probably more so than me, but we are both fans of wrestling. So because of the little nods to the Mick Foley character and the Ric Flair character, it's going to get that just boost the score a little bit. That's why I'm going to give it a 10. For me I'm giving it a 10 because I must see it as an idea of a perfect game, and for me it's maybe because as well I've not played anything like this, certainly with Chris. So
it maybe gets points for novelty, and maybe after 30, 40, 50 games it maybe not live up to that, but I don't think so. I think it's still going to retain the fun aspect. It's still that horrible sinking feeling when you can see your bit going near the edge and it's like, oh God, I've got to get it pushed back on, or vice versa when, you think, oh, I can win this, they're near the edge, and then, oh, it's gone sideways, what they're doing, and it's far more emotional than I thought. Well, as long as you're prepared to invest in it, it is. But if you're happy to invest, it's far more emotional than I ever anticipated a game like this being. And I think it is a triumph, and well done to them, because it is so different to anything else. And I think they deserve a huge amount of credit for coming up with it and implementing it as well. But my laptop's just flashed up to say the battery's running low, so we're going to wrap the review up there. Cause,
what's your score then, Chris?
Well, like I said, for me it is a 10. I would probably say 9.5 if I was using the Titan Beetle again. But I would agree that it probably fluctuates a little depending on the characters. Yeah. But in general, I adore it. I absolutely adore it. And although I am getting worried by the volume of 10s we're giving out, because when we're giving 10s, but I suppose we're both relatively new to the hobby in terms of this extent. You've played games a lot longer than me, but not to this, I suppose, regularity and concentration. But
I think we've just played a concentration of really good games with Streets, Canopy, now Kabuto Sumo,
Jaws of the Lion before that, Villagers before that. It's been a phenomenal run, and I've loved it. Great Wall, we're playing a lot at the minute.
Yeah. And I think because all those games you've mentioned are very, very different. They're all, this is very different to anything else, and obviously Streets is very different to Great Wall, and Canopy again. They're all very different games, and we're not playing the same type of game, so we've got the variety. Yeah. Which maybe gives us a bit more clarity with, how we're doing these reviews.
Possibly. If you're not familiar and you're constantly freshening it up. And on to something completely different again next week, really, with I think it'll be Dice Splice is the next one we're going to record.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on the channel for that. But again, thank you for watching. Look after yourself, stay safe, and have a good one. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.